this Lorong product episode, we'll dive into the real stories behind product builders and entrepreneurs. I'm Nicole, and with me is my co-host Chong Wei, and we'll be your host for today.
Funny story. Just last week, I opened LinkedIn and I saw that you started a new company. The Sam just started. How is he building another startup? Let's back up a little because this isn't even your first rodeo. At 14, you started your first company. Then at 17, you published an app. And at 18, you registered your business. And now you're CEO of OurCodeLab and co-founder of Surf Algo. Walk us through that journey.
I guess it all started back in secondary school. I joined a infocom club where they really exposed us to the different bits of programming, whether are you through robotics or through different form of media. So I was part of the programming route where they actually teach us a lot of programming, whether is it through block-based programming or programming languages. And then in secondary 3, I was quite fortunate because that's when the GCE O-level, the SEAB board, decided to release a new curriculum called computing for O-levels. And it is a very new curriculum, and I was the second batch in Singapore to actually take this curriculum and the first batch for my school. So actually everything that we do was actually very experimental. My teachers will try to really try to explore the different ways they can really drill down this idea of programming into the students because it's really their first time trying to teach it to a group of students, and we were the first batch to actually take on computing, and that actually broadened my horizon to know the various areas in terms of programming. And then that's also where it also sparked my interest to actually build my own company. Back then my idea is I would want to build a place where I can launch an app or multiple apps that I can sell to people, let them use it and let them play with it. Back then it was just a game that they can download and play. And then soon after, when we launched the app when I was 17, when I first entered poly, that is actually our third or fourth iteration of the same app that we built. And that was something that we launched it and we got very great numbers, higher than we expected. Because when we launched it, it was actually not a free app, it was actually a paid app. And we actually received over thousands of downloads over that app that we have. We partnered with polytechnics to actually launch this app for their curriculum so that their students can be exposed to the world of aviation. The app was actually to introduce players to build their own virtual airline through aviation. And then one thing led to another. Someone asked me whether we can build something for them, and we actually did. We built it for them, and soon after, all of our clients that come after is actually all through word of mouth. We never really spend a single cent or single dime on advertising or anything like that. It's all really through organic. Yeah.
All right, we got a LinkedIn version of a story, but we also want to know what it's like really being a student founder. The fun parts, the struggles, and all the messy stuff in between.
So we are going to play Jenga, very quick game. So here's the deal. We've stuck some questions underneath the blocks here. So every time one of us pulls a block, per normal Jenga rules, we will read the question and you'll answer.
All right.
Okay, maybe to start, Chong Wei, you can start.
I will take this one. Okay. Don't have 15. Okay, 18. Okay. If you had to start over today with zero network, how would you get your first client?
Wow.
It's a tough one.
Okay, actually, to be honest, my company, we actually never spend a single dollar on marketing. So actually, all of our clients, actually, 100% of them, they're all through word of mouth. But if I had zero network, I would want the first project or the first product I will create is to create a pro bono product for a very big community. And then from then on, I will use that community case study as to actually further network with other people and say actually this very huge community is using it right now. It will work for yours. Yeah, just give us a chance.
Yeah. Interesting.
You can go ahead and draw the next one yourself.
1.
Wow.
You want to ask the question?
Okay, at 21, how do you convince a 15-person team to join you that OurCodeLab was worth building?
Money.
Okay, Sounds direct.
I guess so, but I think back then we pay quite. I don't know whether my team agree lah, but I think we paid. I think I compensate them quite okay, and then we try to renew their salary every year, like their rates, because a lot of them are contract and part timers. Yeah.
Okay, money makes the world go round. Okay, I'll draw one. Okay, 13.
13. You build affordable solutions. How do you decide what to cut so it stays affordable?
I don't think we ever cut. I don't think we ever cut a feature, but rather we always add new features to make it attractive, even though it's going to cost us on our end. Because I think in some of actually a lot of our projects at the first start or even now, right, we actually make losses even as the product is running. Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, it's really not about the money or the growth of the company. To me, what I really cherish the most is when people use the product, they actually like it and they actually recommend it to their friends or to other businesses and say, hey, we are using this product. It's really good. You should really try it and check it out. Yeah, I think that is really something that I really treasure and I really really hold close to my heart. Yeah.
So the focus should be on helping others instead of making money. That comes secondary.
I think that's just really what I really look forward to when I finish every product. It's not about the paycheck or anything like that. Even if the product is at a loss and people still use it, I will still count that as a win because at the end of the day, people are happy and it's okay, and that's okay. Yeah.
It's like the fulfillment you get, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, no questions. So, Aamuel's turn.
You can go ahead.
3.
Okay, question 3. How did you celebrate when you published your first app at 16?
How did I celebrate? Actually, was it 16? No, it was 17. It was
17.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
one more year.
That was I recall it was right after my first year in polytechnic. Honestly, I didn't really celebrate. I just really rewarded myself to a good night rest because that was 3 a.m. in the morning. I spent the whole day trying to push this app out to for an update. For those that don't really know how submission of apps work, right? In order for you to publish an app through like Google Play or App Store, you will really need to first package up the app, and that alone will cause you a lot of headache. If let's say you didn't really tie down certain loose ends and you really didn't have to adhere to certain policies for Apple, for example, you won't get the packaging will fail, and that packaging process alone will probably take about 10 minutes. Back then, my computer would take 10 minutes to package the whole app itself. And then after that, once you manage to package the app successfully, you have to upload it to the various stores, and then they will have to review the app. They will have to look through it, whether it is in line with their guidelines and procedures. And you really know that in Apple and Google, especially Apple, they are very strict on the different kinds of things that you upload to their app store. And a lot of the things that they will look at, and if let's say it fails, and for my first app it failed a few times, you will really have to go back, rectify the issue and repackage the whole thing again, and that process alone took a lot of time. So in order for me to like reward myself after I published my first app, it's really a good night rest.
Okay, I think you enjoyed that celebration.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I will draw something. Oh my god. Okay, nothing.
Blank.
Hey, go.
Wait, actually for the app Store, right, I want to ask, is it way harder to publish on App Store than Google Play because of Apple's security concerns and restrictions?
Actually, yes.
How long more did it take, or how much?
It's not about how long more, it's about the quality of app. This is not to flame the Android users, but actually Apple is actually more stringent in terms of what you can publish. If you notice on the Android store, all of the apps that they publish, right, is really like one-for-one copy. A lot of game developers especially, they will actually take one idea, they'll keep building, and then to the point where there is like 20 or 30, a swarm of apps that is like for the same logic of Candy Crush, for example. But when you go to iOS, right, the moment you try to publish something that's similar to another app, they will straight away just block it. And that's like months worth down the drain. But they know that you're trying to copy someone to the point where they cannot allow you to publish it. Yeah, and there's actually, and a fun fact is, a lot of the bigger companies out there, they actually will publish it for iOS first, then they'll publish it for Android.
Because you know they definitely can publish lah.
Yes, correct. Because the entry to market for Apple is much higher than what Google has, and that's why a lot of the companies, they actually want to do a lot of pre-launch on iOS first before they move on to Android. Yeah.
Interesting.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
my turn lah. Okay. Wait.
Up,
No lah.
up.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey. Anyhow. Yeah, I'll try this.
Oh.
Never mind. Is there a rule that I touch and then
Yeah,
cannot-
you touch already, you cannot change.
Yeah.
No, go ahead and
You
change.
can pause the rule.
Go ahead and change. Oh, yeah, choosing everything.
Half eh. Wait.
This is very serious.
Yes. Number 6 or 9?
I think it's 6.
6. I think it's a 6.
You've worn many hats as a trainer, content developer, and cyber operator. Which role taught you the biggest lesson you still apply as CEO of 2 companies now? 2 companies, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the second one, I'm not the CEO. Or we haven't really talked about who take what role. But honestly, when you first start out as a startup, the title doesn't matter, in my opinion. It's really about who do what and make sure everyone is in line with the same idea of what you guys are trying to create. So to me, I can be a CEO, I can be a COO, or I can just be a member. And as long as we get to build something great, that's worth celebrating. But if you're talking about the different roles that I've been, I guess it's actually not from those roles. One thing that really stuck to me to now, right, is actually something that my mom taught me, that she passed down from her mom. Okay, wait, never mind. My grandma passed this thought to my mom, and she passed it down to me. Is that when you meet up with any stranger out there, don't be shy to actually initiate the first conversation, because if, let's say, everything flops, right, and it turns out to be bad, the stranger will walk away, you will walk away, and he or she won't probably remember you anymore after that day, right? And then a few years down the road, maybe you may harp on it, but then actually they won't even remember you. So that is okay. So you don't have to really be scared that actually I'm very shy, I'm very introvert, I actually cannot talk to people. Just go and try out. Yeah, and if it's really bad, they won't remember you anyway. Yeah.
Generational knowledge still wins.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Okay. Very easy.
Wow.
I'm just good at this. Oh, okay.
Oh my
Empty.
god. Oh, I think it's me really lah.
Have some confidence.
Wait. Okay, never mind.
Oh.
I'll try
I
this
think it's
out.
about time.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, blank.
It's about time for it to collapse.
I think so too. Oh.
Oh.
It's a blank.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
That
blank.
it's very
Oh.
fast. Haha.
No way, man.
Empty. Back to yours.
Wow. You cannot say.
Actually, how is this tilting?
Hey, wait, I'm touching
You're
two.
touching
Do you
it,
want
touching
2
it.
blocks?
Oh my god.
Go ahead.
I think I'm gone already lah.
It's okay.
Eh?
Okay.
Hey, this is 15. 15, okay. What's one feature or product you didn't build, but you wish you did?
I would say it's a product. I think the product that I really wanted to build is a video conferencing system like Zoom or Discord. Why? Because it's actually very challenging to build a very perfect tool like Zoom. If you notice, Zoom is actually a very basic video calling feature that their whole SKU is all about selling you that video conferencing tool. And it is true enough, it is actually very useful, especially during the pandemic period. But the reason why I really want to do it is because it is really very technically challenging in order for you to build an end-to-end video connection protocol that is based on industry standards, but without having to leverage on third-party tools that you have to really pay pay to them. So that is actually something that I really wanted to build, just a clone of what Zoom have, and I want to replicate it to and scale it up to what Discord have, with all the features like your roles and all the different server management and things like that. Yeah, I guess that's really something that I really wanted to build. I did get close to it, but then I really didn't have much time to go on.
Wait, but what was the motivation? Since Zoom already existed, or you just wanted to challenge yourself?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's really not about the money. It's really about me trying to say, hey, I can build that, and I actually did. Like right now, if I go out to anywhere, I see someone that has like promoting their loyalty program in their shopping center. I keep telling myself that I have built that, and it felt a sense of accomplishment. It's not me being trying to be very egoistical, but it's me trying to tell myself that actually I can do that, and I can do something better also. And that's how I really improve myself. Yeah.
Maybe there'll be your third company in the future. You'll just collect them slowly. I think it's your turn again.
I think I'll take this.
The easy one.
Yeah. Number 4.
Okay, number 4. Do you think being self-taught made you more stubborn? Or like, what did you feel like maybe because you were self-taught, you actually gained like an edge over the others?
Wow. Okay, this is a hard... wait, sorry, could you define what you mean by stubborn in that sense?
I mean, I guess you can also talk about like how being self-taught actually like gave you like more advantage over others, maybe? Or like it gave you more problems.
Like make you to become more resourceful.
I see, okay. I think when I first, especially when I first started into programming, it really sparked from the CCA back in secondary school, and then it's really because of me trying to really try to be to explore in the sense in IT, and really trying to do programming and things like that. I really had to do research and really had to read up on all the different documentation for the different technology, and I mean, like, you will really if let's say you really don't know something, how do you know what else is there to find, or how deep it goes to the point where you need to know how to search? So to the point where you really need to understand what this particular topic is, so that you have other subtopics that you can go and research in. And because of that, it really makes me super it really has built like a layer of like determination in me that I cannot rest until I figure out this thing. And this was back then without like all the AI, ChatGPT and things like that, where no one can help you search. You really have to learn how to search, like really have to use like, you know, those kind of like Google keywords to like really like search specific sites, to research on the different technologies and documentations that you need to know. Yeah, so I guess when people come up to me and say, hey, actually you can do something better or something different, and we achieve the same result, I would like to stick to my own method and trying to be like, I can figure it out on my own in that sense. Yeah, because I did it before. Yeah.
Okay, the stubbornness sticks a little.
I guess that's the stubbornness.
Okay. Wow. Question 5.
If you had to explain OurCodeLab to your younger self in 3 sentences, maybe before you started this company, what would you say?
Explain OurCodeLab. I guess OurCodeLab is a one-stop solution for all IT-related services. Whether you need software, cyber, or cloud, we have everything covered. So to my younger self, I would just say like, don't fret on that simple game lah, because that game that you build will open the doors to many other opportunities that you have. And to this day, I get to see that into fruition and actually allow our clients to be happy on the services that we provide. Yeah.
This is what, 9, right?
Yes.
What's one time you realized a feature you thought was brilliant but it flopped?
Wow, a feature that is brilliant and it flopped.
Our product lah,
maybe
since
it
in your
didn't
case.
turn out the way you wanted it to be.
Wait, let me think it through.
No pressure. Maybe nothing flopped.
No, actually, everything that can go wrong went wrong.
Oh.
It's just that one thing that is like, there is one time where we actually wanted to over-engineer this particular feature, this administration feature, then we realized, right, actually this administration feature doesn't make sense at all because it has so much security vulnerability that we couldn't see only after at the end. And then we really had to be like, okay, we will scrap the whole thing. We have to just stick to what other people have and just follow to that. Because if other people are still using it, it just means that that's the most optimal one. And it doesn't mean that it is something that you create means it is something that is super efficient. Usually the best rule of thumb is if it doesn't break, don't fix it. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
16.
I thought it was going to fall.
also think so.
If you could rebuild one part of your journey, what would you do differently from the start?
I would say, okay, this would sound very contradictory, but stop doing pro bono projects. In my company, we actually want to give back to the community, and one way we do that is we actually give away our services close to free or even free in that sense. And that could mean thousands of dollars on our end, like 5-6 figures, that kind. So, but we keep telling ourselves that actually our mission is actually to provide IT services and products to anyone or everyone at a really affordable price. And in order for us to do that, we have done many different ways and measures. For example, we provide our software for free to let's say NPO or not-for-profit organizations. We pre-create software based on what we have researched, like our learning management system, so that people don't have to pay the whole bulk cost of development. They just need to pay for the royalty and subscription fee every month. And we actually put in the effort to research on what is the best practice and features that people want, and we build it, we invest in it, and then after that we sell it to people and let them use it at a very discounted fee. So that's actually what we really wanted to do. But on hindsight, we really need to look, if we are a business looking to grow, we will need to look into the dollars and cents, into what actually we can earn out of this. Because at the end of the day, you are a business, you're not a charity or organization. You still need to grow, you still need to pay your staff and pay the bills. Yeah. So that is one thing I would do differently.
I am a bit scared. I feel like everything I touch will make it collapse.
Wow.
Question 10. Which PM principle do you find hardest to apply in real life? So like having an MVP, getting user feedback, prioritization.
I think getting users' feedback is the hardest. Where are the users coming from? Is it your group of friends? And even if your group of friends, right, some of them will sugarcoat it. They'll be like, actually, you're doing a good job already, and they won't really find the things that you want. And if you want to approach strangers, how are you going to do that? For example, if let's say you put out a Google form survey on your Instagram, how many of the people that view it will actually take the time to actually do it? So that is actually a means of a tough way to actually find real users to test your product. So that's why when we in our company, we actually have this principle is after you finish a particular feature, test the whole flow yourself first. If it works, it works. So at least we have the first layer checked. Then after that, when we push it out for our external testing with the rest of the developers, that's when we will check together as a second layer of check. And then when we are ready, we push it out for the user acceptance test. That's when our client can sign off on the product and say, okay, this is okay, but we need to work on certain features, something like that. So that's actually one of the struggles, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely harder because it's a startup as well.
Yeah, correct. You need to have contacts and network.
Okay, I looked at your website and saw that you have a variety of products targeting different users as well. So you have education institutes, retail and eateries, corporate, communities and groups, and SMEs and startups. So how do you build so many products?
Oh, I guess when I first started building this kind of softwares, right, it's more or less something that comes out of a hobby. Like when I first started, when I was 16, I went to, my first part-time job was at Genki. So I was actually very inspired by all of the systems that they use inside their restaurant, like for example their point of sale system, and then when you send the order, where does the order go to? I was actually very mesmerized by that, and then because of that, it really inspired me to build something of that on my own. And then one thing led to another, and then we managed to find some clients that will want to give us a chance and adopt such softwares in their institutions or in their SMEs lah. So from then on, we decided to expand, and then one of our latest product was the learning management system, where we actually provide a local tuition center that provides a content dissemination process for their students, teachers, and administration. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many products, right? Did you actually like build everything by yourself, or like you had a few people that you could work with, then you could delegate like some of your work to?
Actually, when OurCodeLab first started, we didn't really have the vision of building software for others. We actually wanted to build a singular software product just for us, and then we just wanted it to be like a company building on a singular project, and then after that we will just keep building on to that product. And then from then on, when we first launched that product, more people started to ask like, hey, do you do this? Do you do that? Can you help me do this? And then we actually started to do it for the rest. And then when we first started, it was like only 3 of us. And then because I'm more software trained, I usually do more of the development. And then my friends would do more of the designing, and then some would do the cyber testing. And then from then on, we somewhat had a process, and then we grew. And now I had more leeway to actually delegate more work to my other team members as well.
Okay, that's good.
So you have like 5 different categories, right? Which category actually made you the most money? Or actually you said some of the systems can be shared amongst different categories, right? Like one solution used for different, like it has overlaps lah. So maybe you can share more about which solution or which category made you the most money, if it's okay.
Definitely government. Government, usually those jobs are usually the ones that has deep pockets. Where I see, like for example, SMEs, they are very frugal in the way that they spend. They will really look at the cost and be like, is this project really worth like 5-6 digits? And then you're like, yeah, actually it does. It does. Our manpower, the technologies we use, the expertise that we put in, and the software licensings that we actually have to procure just to do this software, but mostly go through manpower. But actually, if you were to ask me, it's not really a specific product, but it's more a category as a whole. And I would say that's government. Government is they actually have more funds for this kind of projects. Yeah.
Interesting.
How about the lease?
The lease? Whoa. I did actually, when we first started out, we actually made a loss in a couple of projects. Not trying to hide it, but we actually because when we first start out, we really don't know what our value is worth, and we always like to undercut ourselves and say like, okay, because I'm new, I will provide you maybe at a 50% haircut. I'll absorb the 50%, and I'll build the whole product for you, and you just need to pay 50%. And I mean, yes, it gives us some traction, it gives us like exposure, but looking at the hindsight, actually we shouldn't undervalue ourselves, because the things that we provide is really on par with what other people were to provide. But because we were new, it really shouldn't justify that we should undercut our value, because what we bring to the table, I would say, is more or less the same, or even better. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it came with like a lot of experience, right? So I'm sure you had like maybe failed prototypes like for this product. So like, was there many failed like prototypes along the way?
Definitely. We actually, maybe I share with you more about the singular project, singular product that I wanted to build. It was because in my polytechnic days, I actually study in aviation management, and I really wanted to build a single airline simulation platform for anyone to build their own virtual airline. And that particular product alone, it actually took me like 5 or 6 different iterations of me having to build, scrap it, build, and then after that to launch it. But even up to now, we have launched that project since like 6 years ago. So I think now it's really end of life already. So actually we are looking to build another iteration of it. And I would say as every iteration goes, it really shows the scale difference between the latest one and the very initial prototype. And it is really something that you will feel super humbled by. Only when you sit down and be like, oh my goodness, how did we got from here all the way to here, you know? Yeah.
Wait, is it one of the products on OurCodeLab or is it a separate thing?
Actually, OurCodeLab we weren't called OurCodeLab until 2021. Actually, we were called the Innovation Studios, and back then we launched it under that name. And then it was also during the COVID period as well. And then after that, we also took that product and then we partnered with another polytechnic to actually use the product in one of their curriculums as well. Yeah, and then we did get quite a bit of mixed reviews. Most good, some of them are bad. Why? Because all those reviews that we got from the students are like, why do we need to go through this again? Why is there like another thing we need to download? You know, but actually, if you really ask those people who really appreciate like aviation as much as I do, they actually can understand like, oh, actually I really like this feature. Is there a way that we can do more? And actually that's when we actually really rise to the occasion to actually provide more for our users. Yeah.
Okay, so for OurCodeLab, right? How much money do you start with and how do you decide which features are must have or nice to have?
How much money I start with?
Yeah. How much do you invest in it at the very start?
Oh. Honestly, I really don't recall investing a lot because, I mean, if you think about it, as a software company, what do you really need? You probably need your domain, your probably some of the softwares that you need to use, but most of them are open source that you can use. I think the reason why software company costs so much is because it's really cost of the manpower, the time, the skill, the energy to even reiterate. Like for example, I had ever sat into a meeting that is like 2 hours long just to discuss the position of a single button. And it's really to this extent where this 2 hours is actually really draining not only your manpower, but also your physical and mental energy to like, do we really need a 2-hour meeting just to discuss on how do we position this singular button? Yeah, but for when it comes to feature wise, right, we actually it's actually something that is very, very important that we need to touch on. Every time when I sit down with a client through a discovery meeting, I always ask them like, in 5 years time, right, what do you really want with your product? Putting aside timeline, putting aside your budget, what do you really need? Because it is really the features that they really want in the future define how you build your product when you first start off with. To give you an example, there was this project that I was working on. It was an e-commerce project. We had integrated like membership, loyalty program, and a loyalty points into it. And then after that, we were talking about all the different specifics to the point where we had a fully decked out software that we can push it out. And then one of the day, our client came up to us and say, "Hey, actually, can you show us the history of all the different transactions of points being transacted to this user?" And then when we went back to the drawing board, we were like wondering, they didn't ask for a transaction request because in order to do that transaction request and to add on the points to the user, there's different methods of doing so. And because they weren't upfront and telling us that actually we want to have the transaction history, there is no way for us to actually pull the transaction history to show it to the user. So actually a lot of these kind of features that they want, you really need to understand what they really want in the long run so that your team can actually start building the foundation before pushing out and releasing the product.
Yeah, that's like the struggle with being a startup, right? You have like very small teams, and I mean with small teams, right? How do you like actually work around like the testing process? So like how do you test with users, given that you are a small company, you have small budgets?
As a startup especially, you will get walked on by a lot of your clients. They will be like, oh, because you're small, I think they will say like, oh, because I am more in this industry more, I will give you more of my experience and I will want to guide you further. But I guess as a startup, you really need to understand that a lot of people will first look down on you until you can prove your self-worth. And to the question of how do we do our initial testing, this was a couple of years back when we actually booked a room in SMU. We actually had one room that we just all go inside there for like a few hours to actually test the various features. And then from our cyber testers to our UI UX designers and our developers, we all sat down on that small little table, us really deciding on like, okay, let's start with the first flow, second flow, and then everyone will be giving out like, hey, how come this one is not really working? It's deviating from the initial design, and then it really keeps us all in focus. But these kind of sessions are also the time where it really proves whether your system is a make it or a break product. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just ask like, what's one scrappy user test that gave surprisingly big insights?
Scrappy user test.
Do you feel the one
Maybe
that
the
you
most
did at SMU
fluff one.
and the small table felt very scrappy?
What do you mean by scrappy? Like,
Maybe it's just some random comment or I don't know.
oh, okay. Oh, this is not the SMU one. So this one was actually one of our government projects. So there was actually this remark that that was made by one of the client. She was telling me like, how come in order for me to delete a particular user, I will need to go through this page and then press this page. And then I was actually wondering, actually to us as developers, it actually makes sense that we need to have different layers of checks. But then to the user, their objective is, I need a software that makes my work efficient without having to affect my operation, right? And then when you really put yourself into the shoes of the client, right, you'll be like, oh, actually we can simplify this process and make our developers happy in terms of the security standpoint. And that's actually one thing that we actually really missed out on when we first start off, because when the client first come to us, they actually have a specific viewpoint, and then when you put yourself into their shoes, you'll realize that actually we can optimize certain processes, and we should look into those. And then that's when you get your UI UX designers, your developers, and sit down and be like, okay, we got this particular issue, we need to resolve and we need to rectify this. Yeah, I think that was something that really really made me feel like we have learned something as a company. Yeah.
I think you also mentioned that like you had to change, like you have to like hear like your client's feedback, you have to work with like user feedback. So like did this product end up being like something you like kind of vision from the start, or did it like kind of change along the way when you receive these feedbacks?
A lot of people will tell you clients are always right, customers are always right. I not necessarily live by that logic, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for what the end users use. And if let's say, even though it's what the client vision, and the end user is saying that, hey, actually this is actually not a lousy product, and they will look at who created this product, and that's us. It's not the client, it's us. The clients are just giving us specification. So when the project first kick off, during discovery, we really need to get every single detail right with the client. And let's say this particular client want to come up to us and say, hey, we want to build an e-commerce project, right? In my mind, I know what are the features required for e-commerce project, but then to them, they have a specific idea in mind, and sometimes you really need to tell them, actually, this is not the more industry-like process to do it, right? Nobody does it that way. Reason being of ABC, and we actually have to steer the client to what they want in a way that we understand it as well. This is so that we can align our viewpoint and their viewpoint together, and at the end of the day, everyone wins. Yeah. I guess that is one thing that we really learn.
That's good.
One more question. Do you see yourself more as a PM, engineer, or entrepreneur?
I would say I like to tinker with a lot of things. Since young, I love playing with Legos. I like to build like different city infrastructure, build my city, have some robotic techniques and things like that. I really like to tinker things. And then when I start learning programming in secondary 1, I actually remembered I spent like 4 to 5 hours sitting in front of a super old iMac computer just trying to build something that can jump. That was like my first touch point with programming.
Or game, is it?
It was on Scratch. It's not even like programming language where you really have to type. But it's like the super basic one where I was like really trying to figure out how does programming actually works. And then because my school exposed us to Scratch, we were like wondering like how are we going to teach the students on programming. And I was actually very interested because like I was like, I can actually press a key on my keyboard and it actually can move the character in this environment, and I thought that was pretty cool, and that really sparked my interest in programming, and I really like tinkering. But at a bigger picture, if I would consider myself as a PM, engineer, or entrepreneur, I would say I like the thrill of starting a new business. I like to run my own business and being able to be close and down to earth with my team members and actually working together to actually build something that people actually cherish, people actually love. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've like started tinkering with things, started so many startups already, and like since like you were quite young. So like, was there any moment where like you felt like, oh, I'm like feeling a bit burnt out by it, and like how do you like kind of deal with it?
Every day. Every day. It's an everyday occurrence that you really need to just trust it. Trust that when you plan out your schedule, you just need to just follow everything to the T. Even up to now, when I try to jam pack my schedule so much, right? There is a couple of tasks that I will miss, and that's okay because I have catered a lot of buffer time to in my schedule to actually push back the task so that I still will be on track and not be late. But when it comes to burnout, I always want to I'm not the very best at mental health, to be honest with you. Like there was a lot of times where I would sleep very late at night, wake up very early in the morning, and then to the point where I was like driving home, feeling super tired already, just want to crash at my bed, But then I had to attend like different client calls because back then our client is overseas and we had to suit with his time zone. Yeah, so actually, my advice is to cope with this kind of burnt out, right? You will just need to plan out your schedule well to the point where you can still cater some buffer time. And even if, let's say, you miss out a couple of tasks, that's okay. Because if you have really planned out sufficient amount of time on the days ahead, you can actually still say, okay, I can actually push this back to the next day or the day after. Yeah, I don't really have to finish everything now. But if I manage to finish everything today, that's great too. I get to work on more stuff. Yeah.
What's one PM lesson you would like to pass down to the next batch of Product Club members? Because we talked a lot about entrepreneurship and engineering stuff, right? So now go to the product management side.
Product. While building your product, make sure that you align what you have in mind to what the clients have in their mind, because communication is very important. You need to communicate what you are thinking to what they are thinking. To them, you are drawing. To them, they really want you to build like a super huge project, right? And you know how to do it. But if let's say there is a communication breakdown in between, you really cannot function. Or that's when the client will be like, actually, why are we even picking you in the first place, right? You can't even make our idea into fruition, and then in the end you give us this that we didn't even think of. So you really need to align your expectations with what the client have, and when you really know that it is really impossible, you just need to tell them no, and cannot be like, okay, we can do it, and then tell your engineers, and your engineers be like, there's no way we can ever do this. So you really need to align your expectations with them, similar to what I've mentioned earlier, where you really need to discuss what do they have in the long run, plan ahead, so that your product will be something that is usable for the rest for everyone to enjoy actually. So everyone really wins.
Yeah, I think that's like great advice for like the next batch of Product Club members.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lorong Product. A huge thank you to Aamuel for sharing his incredible journey from building his first company at 15 to navigating the highs and lows of being a student founder. Your insights on product management, scaling with limited resources, and maintaining resilience are definitely ones we will be taking away.
Absolutely, Aamuel. It's inspiring to see how you've managed to juggle it all from our OurCodeLab to Surf Elbow and still keep building in a field that's constantly evolving. We really appreciate you taking time to come chat with us today. And before you go, if you want to connect with Aamuel or learn more about his work, make sure to check out his LinkedIn. Thanks for coming to the end of this episode.
Click here to see more of our Lorong Product episodes.